João Félix to Chelsea. Mudryk is getting closer to his Arsenal switch, and Wout Weghorst is on his way to Manchester United. We've got all of your transfer news right here on DR Sports. Let's start with João Félix. Now, Chelsea have seemingly swooped in and stolen him from under the noses of Arsenal and Manchester United. The player did look poised to join either one of those, but Chelsea have prioritised him and in turn taken their foot off the gas on Mudryk, which is actually giving Arsenal a free run to complete that deal. But Felix, he's primarily a player that's played on the left, or he can play as a false nine, and he's comfortable in a front three. And for me, I think when I've looked at Chelsea this season, we know they have got injury problems, but I just feel they haven't had anything to kind of connect the dots for them. And that if he can play in that false nine role, he can link up the midfield to those front three and give them something creatively. You know, he's good in transitions, he's good for pressing, and I think that it gives Chelsea an option, which they haven't actually had this season. And it could be the difference of, I guess, Chelsea finishing 10th to Chelsea finishing closer to the top four. Can they even get in the top four? Would this player make the difference for them? Let me know in the comments. He's had 3 seasons at Atletico Madrid. He joined for an astronomical fee of 126 million euros, but he's actually failed to kind of live up to that bumper price tag out there. This season, though, he's had 7 starts for Atletico with 5 goals and 3 assists. So when he is playing, he is actually impacting at the game. We saw him at the World Cup. He did impress at times, and he can give that attacking fluidity to teams, and he's progressive on the ball as well in transitions. And as I mentioned earlier, that's something that I think Chelsea have really been lacking this season, having that creativity in midfield, getting the ball up to the front three, and kind of working the channels. And I think that having someone like João Félix can give Chelsea that option to maybe kind of get that ground back going again. You know, it's 20 goals and 17 games for Chelsea this season, so we know that that is somewhere they've definitely been lacking up front and in front of goal. I believe that Félix can add to those goals as well as create. So it's a good signing for me when I look at it from a Chelsea aspect. And actually, it could be a loss from a Manchester United and Arsenal aspect. Would he have been a better player to sign over Mudryk? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Would he have been a better signing than potentially of Wout Weghorst for Manchester United? Let me know your thoughts on that. As I mentioned, he was sought after by both those clubs. The stumbling block, though, was on that 11 million euro loan fee. And Chelsea have already made other signings in this transfer window. Benoit Badiashile and David Fofana, as well as Andre Santos. So they are bolstering their squad. And this kind of comes back to where we're talking about Graham Potter. And, you know, Chelsea fans were singing about Thomas Tuchel against Manchester City the other day. And I guess that's a cry to get him back. But Todd Boehly has backed Graham Potter, and he's come out and said that, you know, he's got his full support. Potter has only been there, I think we're looking at maybe 4 or 5 months in total, with the World Cup sandwiched in between. So with these signings, and obviously we have to take into consideration the injuries that Chelsea have had. So with this bolstering of the squad, and once all of those players are back fit, surely things will start to turn around for Graham Potter, because we do know that he's a good coach. He was highly sought after. I know that Tottenham were obviously in for him multiple times before they signed Nuno Espirito Santo last season, and for whatever reason, Graham Potter didn't want to come. So you do have to give him time, and I would really hope that they do, because once they have everyone back fit, along with the new signings they're making, I'll be interested to see how Chelsea do play. And as I always keep saying, that Graham Potter is a project manager, so I want to see what he can build with the backing of this team, and backing of the board, and what he can develop with Chelsea. And I think this is a different aspect for Chelsea. They are going to have to be patient. It's not something that they're used to. But when, you know, it's not for a lack of trying. And I think that Todd Boehly's been you know, so far come in and done, I guess, what Roman was doing, in the sense that he's giving the club money, he's giving the manager transfers. It's not for a lack of backing the manager. I think that these things just take time. And getting the likes of João Félix, a good player, he's still really young as well. I think this could be a good signing for them. I think it could potentially be a difference of the season they've been having so far. Moving on, though, let's have a look at Mudryk. Finally, Arsenal looks set to get their man. They have made a major breakthrough in their pursuit for him. And I guess Shakhtar are just going to have to either come to an agreement, or could they potentially outprice him? I think that there's a small chance that this deal could not go through, but it's looking like Mudryk is going to be happy when he gets to Arsenal. He's liked loads of posts in the last few weeks from Arsenal fan pages where they've been putting him in their shirts and things like that. So it looks like the deal is on. As I mentioned, Chelsea were pursuing him. They were kind of waiting in the wings, I guess, if this Felix deal wasn't going through. But now that they've turned their attention to Felix, then they're going to get their man. It looks like Arsenal will get theirs. At the moment, it's just really coming down to structuring the payments with Shakhtar. However, if a deal does get done, what else do Arsenal need to do to bolster their squad? Because even though Eddie Nketiah has come in and he's doing the business fantastically, while Gabriel Jesus is out and Mel Smith-Rowe is back from injury as well. We saw last night that Vieira also contributed 2 assists. That's another positive sign for Arsenal in terms of their bench. But what do Arsenal need to do to maintain and sustain their title challenge this season? This time last year, they were looking at Vlahovic before he's moved to Juventus. That hasn't quite worked out for Vlahovic there. Is this a player that Arsenal would be interested in potentially signing, maybe on a loan deal? What do Arsenal need to do? I want to know in the comments, are you happy with the signing of Mudryk if it all goes through? Do you want more? If so, what do you need? But as I said, all parties are confident at the moment and their positions are very clear that the player wants to obviously join Arsenal. Arsenal want the player, but Shakhtar are just kind of waiting to see what kind of money they can get for him. And Ryan Taylor Sport also commented saying, after continuously using Anthony and Jack Grealish, respective moves to Manchester United and Manchester City, 86 million and 100 million as reference points, Shakhtar are now aware that they risk pricing themselves out of their biggest ever payday and the cash that they desperately do need. So I guess it is in Shakhtar's best interest to come up with a solution to get this deal over the line. But of course, they are going to want to get as much money as possible for the highly rated winger. Right, moving on. Manchester United have spoken to Burnley about the signing of Wout Weghorst on loan. Now, the striker, 6'6", is currently on loan at Besiktas. So basically, it means that Burnley have to talk to Besiktas to get Wout Weghorst out of his deal and somehow then, if he does manage to do that, then get him signed to Manchester United. Now, of course, the player is interested in doing this. Who wouldn't be? But they have to wait and see if this is a possibility to even get it and then make the figures work accordingly. United have been interested in signing a number 9. This is no secret. Is Wout Weghorst the right signing for Manchester United? Is this with an eye to go and secure someone else, potentially a Harry Kane in the summer? This is obviously a position they've wanted to fill for a long while. But United fans and any fans, let me know if you think Wout Weghorst is the best signing for Manchester United. Now, to look at him on paper last season at Burnley, he had really good stats actually, and his pressings per 90 were really, really good. I think they were best in the Premier League for the second half of last season when he came over here and joined them. But Rio Ferdinand has spoken about it, and he believes that they shouldn't be looking at Wout Weghorst. They should be looking at Mehdi Taremi instead of him, and he is of Porto. And he's gone on and scored 14 goals in 20 appearances this season for Porto. He's 30 years old, and he did have an impressive World Cup. He scored twice during that 6-2 defeat to England. I saw him actually when I was in Porto. I went to a Champions League game against Bayern Leverkusen, and he played really, really well. I believe he got 2 goals in that game. The only thing is potentially the age. Would that be a stumbling block for Manchester United? I guess they'd be looking to kind of have someone that's a little bit younger with more years ahead if they were going to go and sign someone. And also he has a £60 million release clause, and that contract does end next year. So despite what Rio Ferdinand is saying, he might not be the best option for Manchester United on terms of the financial side. Weghorst has 9 goals in 18 games this season for Besiktas, so he's definitely putting up the numbers. And we even saw at the World Cup the type of impact he can have, that last minute unbelievable winner to take it, well, not a winner, but to take it to extra time. It felt like a win at the time, to be honest. But to take it to extra time against Argentina. Not only that, he gives United and other teams an option. You know, with 6'6" height, you can put him in the box, and if you need something different in the last 20 minutes of a game, he gives you that outlet to put balls in the box for him to knock it down to someone else or to score on his own accord. So I think it's a pretty good idea for Manchester United. It's just not the most, I want to say, glamorous signing that you would expect, especially when they're signing the likes of Sancho and Antony. Then you wouldn't necessarily link that Weghorst to that. But I think it's actually a really smart deal if this manages to go through. And it's something that I think Ten Hag has obviously been thinking about a while. And he, another Dutch player. So he kind of fits the mould as to what Erik ten Hag would want. But let me know, United fans, if you think that Wout Weghorst is the best signing as a number 9 for Manchester United. And of course, Besiktas will not be happy if this deal does go through. They will probably be looking for compensation or a replacement to kind of see them out to the end of the season after the impact he's been having over there. So that is kind of all the transfer news for this morning. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Mudryk to Arsenal, is this the right deal? What do you guys of Arsenal or any fans think Arsenal need to do to strengthen their squad and make sure they've got enough to get themselves over the line in their title charge? João Félix to Chelsea, is this the right signing? Can he impact them in the way that we would hope that he could do to get them up the table? And Wout Weghorst, is this the best signing for Manchester United? Is this a placeholder just until the summer, and then they can go and see if they get into the Champions League who's out there and potentially take Harry Kane off Tottenham should they miss out? So thank you for watching, and we will see you again tomorrow.